Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Bree Mescoy. I've been a licensed esthetician for the past 13 years. In today's video, I'm going to get ready because today is a filming video. And as I get ready, I'm going to tell you everything that you need to know if you've been thinking about going solo as an esthetician. So I'm going to share with you some of the mistakes I made, some of the things I did right, and what you guys can implement from the beginning as well. How to prepare if you are thinking of this for a future goal of yours. And then also what I wish I would have known before I took the leap myself. So keep watching, get ready with me, and let's talk all about going solo. So one of the biggest things when going solo, first off, and I would even say like in preparation of going solo, is the mindset shift that needs to take place and just your overall development of your way of thinking. A lot of times we have to break some limiting beliefs that were either put in place on our own, maybe by our parents, by our surroundings. So that's like first and foremost. So for me, I was always really into like personal development and just expanding my mind, and I can thank my grandma for that for sure. She was always listening to like audio tapes and really heavily involved with personal development. She was actually worked for Bank of America, and she was always in a leadership position. So I think it came a lot from that. But while I was working at European Wax Center, I would always be like on my route to work, so my commute, I'd be listening to like audio tapes, cassettes specifically. So yes, I feel old now. We did not have, at least I wasn't aware of like any podcast or like things like that. I don't think those were really a thing back then, but I had like CDs or cassette tapes from like Tony Robbins and personal development, motivational speakers. So I'd always listen to them. So I was already like really involved in that, but that's something that I really harp on strongly with my coaching clients is like you need to have a mindset shift, and you need to develop your mind and your way of thinking. So that's a great way to do it. So today, you know, we have so much access, almost too much, like where it can be overwhelming, but podcasts, YouTube videos, like just start being really intentional about what it is that you are consuming. So that was a big thing that I did, was making sure that I was not, you know, wasting that valuable 20 minutes one way to and from work just listening to music or whatnot. I would be listening to audio tapes. One of the limiting beliefs I would say I had to break was thinking that I had to do everything on my own. And I did do things on my own for a really long time, but you can only grow to a certain level when you go alone. There's a saying of, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. So that was something that I really worked through and learned after a few years in business on my own, was that I did not need to do it alone, and I was actually going to be even more effective if I started to build a team of the right people. Now, I know that's not a really option at first when you first go solo, but I think it's really great to start just having that mindset shift and working towards the goal of being able to hire out and delegate, so that ultimately you can be focusing on what it is that only you can do, which is providing the service, right? Taking care of your clients, being in your social media postings and doing collabs with other business owners and being involved in your community. Like, those are things that you can't delegate out, but there's a lot of other tasks that need to get done in order to run a successful solo operation that can be delegated out, and it can be done smartly as well. So I'll do other videos on that, on how you can find your right people and like who. Actually, I have a video that I did about my first 3 hires, so I encourage you guys to go back and watch that. So part of my journey when I first went solo was I actually started renting a treatment room while I was still at European Wax Center, and I was taking clients, but I was not providing wax. Okay, this foundation is way too light. Dang it, I definitely have a little tan going on. All right, I need to add some of this over. By the way, side note, this LYS foundation stick is like the bomb, especially days where I really don't feel like doing makeup, but I have to. Today's a filming day, filming this, obviously, and then we're doing a couple other training videos. So It's makeup day for me, but this makes it so quick and easy. Anyways, I was taking clients like part-time in a treatment room, not providing waxing services though. I was doing like microblading, which that's a whole other story that I'll have to share with you guys. I literally got freaking scammed by this girl. She went viral on Instagram and ended up on the Ellen DeGeneres show. So like, I don't know. I thought she was legit because of that, because I was very naive back then. Anyway, so I like got scammed out of like $3 grand. It was crazy. I actually took her to small claims court and won. So I was taking clients like part-time, and then eventually I got fired because they found out. And that's when I went all in. Getting fired was the best thing ever that happened for me. Like, that's what really helped me to, well, it kind of forced me to just be all in. But at that point, we were living in our fifth wheel trailer. I was pregnant with my third child, so I just felt like it was the smarter way to go about it, to make sure I had a paycheck as long as possible while I was building. But ultimately, I did get fired, and I was dependent on making sure that I started bringing in some clients. So it really like put that hustle into me, and we just went all in. My husband and I did have a moving company as well that I helped him with, like all the clients and bookings and all of that, so that was good. But we were definitely on the struggle bus financially, but we knew our like North Star and our long-term goal, and we weren't gonna let anything stop us. So that's definitely thing number one, is you need to have a mindset shift 100%. Next is, this is actually one of my company values now, is lean and mean. So for going solo, I think it's really important to keep it lean and do it smart. You don't need to go all out and have the nicest equipment and spend all this money getting all your stuff. Like, it is a little bit different today, I would say, like aesthetics wise. Like, people want to have like the nice aesthetics, and that's fine. But you can do it still on a budget. You don't need to go all out and spend a ton of money. And that's one thing that I did not do, and I don't regret it at all. I allowed my treatment room to kind of like organically grow with me and my business, and do, you know, minor upgrades as I was able, because I knew that I was going to be able to win people over with my service. So really making sure that you've mastered your technique first, which is why, and you guys have heard me say this multiple times, I'm not the biggest fan of going solo right out of the gate. I don't think it's the smartest move. There's definitely those who can do it and make it work. So I'm never going to be a naysayer and tell people that you can't do something, but I just think for the majority, it's not the smartest move. So I don't regret whatsoever having really focused first on technique and working under someone, both at a day spa and then moving on to European Wax Center, because I was so confident in the service I was providing and my technique that was not an issue. So when it came to my treatment room and like the aesthetics, everything needs to be clean and sanitary. That's not what I'm talking about here. But you don't need to have just like the fancy treatment, you know, $4,000 hydraulic treatment table and all of that. My strategy was really all focused on the client experience and how I left people, or how I made them feel, how they left my treatment room, left experiencing a service with me, how they felt afterwards. And that's what really helped me build a clientele fairly quickly. Another thing I think before going solo, you need to know is, well, some of the mistakes I made. Let me share with you, first of all, some of the mistakes I made. Okay, so definitely underpricing myself. And I think we all do it. And I feel multiple ways about this. If you are coming from like a European Wax Center, you've completely mastered your service and you're super confident in it, then don't underprice yourself. But say you're providing a brand new service, or you're new and you're going solo straight out of the gate, and you are now in essence kind of practicing on paying clients, I think it's really important that you price yourself fair so that it's fair for the client as well. But let's talk more in my situation where I was coming from European Wax Center and I was very confident in my services. I way underpriced myself. I should have been pretty much matched, if not maybe just a little bit cheaper than European Wax Center when I was first building, because they were going and paying that price to get waxed by me at European Wax Center, so why not pay me directly? So that was a big mistake that I definitely made. Second mistake was not having like good systems and automations. So I was doing a lot of stuff by hand. Granted, back then, I don't feel like we had quite as many like software available to us that we do now, or maybe I just was completely unaware of it. But I would have started with, I love Gloss Genius. I don't know if they were around back then, but I wish I would have started with them. I did have a booking site though, so I utilized that, but like automations when it comes to finances, or like I did packages and memberships and I was writing all of it by hand and like sending Venmo requests and like just created a lot of admin work for myself. So that's one thing that I actually get started on with my coaching client. I forgot setting powder before setting spray. I always mix up something when I'm doing makeup. Makeup is not my strong suit. Anyways, I got sidetracked, squirrel moment. I have no idea what I was talking about. Another mistake that I really made, and I see, that's what I was saying. This is one of the first things I get started with my coaching clients, is I have them start implementing all of these things, because you want to also build for future growth. Like, you know your long-term goals, so let's set up systems and automations to be able to support that, so that once you hit that, not everything breaks and you have to, in essence, like rebuild again, which is something that I still experience to this day on my product side, my product-based business, and it's difficult to keep rebuilding those systems. So being out, utilizing things like my YouTube channel here and stuff, like go through and learn all this stuff so that you can get it set up the right way from the very beginning. Another mistake that I made was blurring the line between client and like professional relationship and then making them my friends, which is hard in this industry because it's very relationship driven, which is fantastic, but you still need to keep that clear line of professionalism, because people can start to kind of take advantage of that, want discounts, show up late, not adhere to your no-show or late cancellation policy, and then it can start to make you feel weird about actually withholding those policies and like charging people and all the things. So, and then being in Newport Beach, California, I had a lot of like friend groups, and then them talking about one another to me, and me kind of letting myself get involved in the drama. Biggest mistake ever. Yeah, just be really careful about blurring that line. So that's definitely a big mistake I made, and it was hard to like kind of work my way out of that. But when I finally moved from California full time up here in Bend, because I traveled back and forth between Southern California and here in Bend, Oregon for about 2 years. Once I fully moved up here, I started things off the right way with my new clientele that I had built. Next thing. So what would I do differently now if I was starting completely over? My first thing is I would definitely be utilizing a booking system from day one and encourage people to book online and make changes to their schedule or their appointment times online. I would majorly reduce the amount of texting back and forth or DMs, and just really start to automate that and like kind of train my clients to utilize that first. Of course, we're still in the service-based industry, so if people are struggling or having issues or have questions, like, yes, you want to be available to them, but really when it comes to like just choosing an appointment time and booking, like really utilizing that online booking system. And this is why I love Gloss Genius, because there's so much that's automated for you, like text confirmations, reminder text. There's just so much. There's so much that's automated through Gloss Genius, and it makes your life so much easier. Including now, like packages are available through Gloss Genius. I know memberships is going to be something that's going to be available soon. So that's huge and really reduces the amount of admin work. So that's thing number one. Next, I would make sure to have set up my business bank account like immediately. I did not do that, and I was doing a lot of things by hand, and I was also mixing personal and business expenses, and that made things really, really difficult when it came tax time. And honestly, there was a few years where I like didn't even file my taxes, and then I had to backtrack, and it was just like an absolute nightmare. And I wish I would have utilized, first of all, creating an LLC, opening up my business bank account, and then signing up for QuickBooks and linking them so that everything was being categorized and tracked properly, and knowing my numbers, being able to know my numbers. I did not know, like a P&L report, what's that? I didn't know. So super important though. So that's another thing with my coaching clients. It's like we go through those foundational things first and make sure all of that's set up. So I would definitely do that first thing before going solo. I also would have created an admin day for myself. So once a week, and I have my coaching clients do this, once a week I would go in and do any back-end admin work. If it's client follow-ups, if it's doing inventory and ordering anything that's needing to be ordered. I would have started utilizing text and email marketing a lot sooner. On that admin day, I would be writing those email newsletters in preparation, getting those prepared. I would be making sure to categorize any transactions from the previous week so that I wasn't falling behind and having to panic and do that at the, come tax filing time, and then trying to do a whole year at once or even a month at a time. It's a lot. So I would have implemented an admin day. Also creating my social media content, batch shooting. I wish I would have started doing that a little bit sooner, and that's something I would definitely do differently. So when it comes to growing your clientele, I think it's really important to be aware of how much of that is really going to rely on social media content. And I know I see so many people posting about how they didn't go solo, wanting to then, become a content creator. But it's like, yes, there's other avenues to marketing as well. But especially when you're first going solo and you don't have the funds to be paying for advertising, like it just is today's day and age. Like that's where people's attention and eyes are. And in order to grow your business, you need to get your business known. And in order to do that, we got to utilize the free platforms that are available to us. So I think you need to be really clear that it is going to require you to put some focus on social media. Another way that I really gained a lot of clients at first too was social media for sure, word of mouth, and then collabing with other professionals. But it all starts though with your technique. So mastering your technique first and foremost, and I know I already said that, but I can't emphasize that enough. It's really important. And then my big thing is when you're working under someone and you know that your ultimate goal, stop skipping steps. Too many people skip steps. You're in this for the long haul, so don't feel like you need to go from a student to a six-figure year all at once. Now, does it happen and people do it? Yes, absolutely. But I don't want, if that's not the case for you, I don't want you to feel like, oh, this isn't working, this isn't meant for me. Things take time. Building takes time. While you're working under someone and learning your service and perfecting your technique, start studying business at the same time. Utilize that time, read books, try to help out in other ways. At European Wax Center, I would always offer to do other things. I would offer to help with inventory, and I try to start learning some of the back end systems, really focusing on the overall client experience. How are they getting people in through the door? What's their systems for a new client? And all the things that came into it. And then not only are you learning what to do, you might also be taking note of what not to do, what you wouldn't want to implement for your business. So that's the beauty of working under someone, is that you can really take that experience and then create it into your own. How do you want your clients to feel? How do you want the client experience to look? There may be things that you love, and there may be things that you don't like, and that once you're the boss and it's your business, then you can make those changes and make that decision. So if you guys haven't checked it out yet, I did a 10-part series here on my YouTube channel. It's under my podcast though, The Rebel Show, and it's a 10-part series all about how to build your clientele. And I start from like step 1 and break it all down into super actionable steps. At the end of each episode, I give you like kind of a homework assignment so that you guys can start implementing these things. So definitely go check that out. So next, let's talk about burnout and boundaries. Now, burnout is definitely a real thing. It's not my favorite term, and I'll tell you why. Because I feel like when your why and your passion behind what you're doing is big enough that like you don't ever truly burn out. You can just need a rest and reset. But I do hear this talked about a lot of people burning out, and it's because we wear all the hats. As entrepreneurs, as business owners, we wear all the hats, and it's a lot, and it can be overwhelming, especially when you're new and you don't have a ton of guidance and you're just kind of figuring it out. So I definitely experienced that overwhelm because of wearing all of the hats and doing every job. But it's also just kind of like part of it. Like there's not many other options when you're in that like build, grinding, just startup phase. You don't have the funds to be hiring out. So I would really focus on just really nailing down systems and learning it and making it as automated as possible, so that once you're to a place where you can hire, it's really easy to turn over some of those tasks and then be willing to hire. So I know it's hard. It can be a control thing for sure, where it's like, I'm the one who's been doing all this. No one else can do it like me. First of all, that's not true. It's all about finding the right people and then having the correct training. So you really are going to be stepping into a leadership role at that point. So I think really being honest with yourself, like what your future goals are, like is owning your own business the right move for you? Do you want to be a solo practitioner? Like, what's your North Star? What's your end goal? Being really clear about that, and then knowing what comes along with that, because a lot of it's glamorized, I would say, on Instagram, and I know I can definitely be one of those that people watch, and it looks really, and it is fun. I very much enjoy my business, but I think my true day-to-day would really surprise people. Like, I'm not taking clients in the treatment room anymore. Like, when you guys see these demos, I'm getting demo models in specifically to be able to film educational content. I'm not in the treatment room on a daily basis. I'm pretty much here in my office leading my team. I'm overlooking things. I'm putting out fires. There's always different issues that are coming up. I'm working with vendors. I'm working with my manufacturer. I'm on my computer a lot, doing a lot of emails, a lot of just like stuff that is not necessarily fun. So you have to be honest with yourself. It's like, what point do you want to grow to? Like, what's your future goals and plans? And then really being clear on what comes along with that and making sure that it's really, really what you want. Because once you start hiring, it is a whole different ball game for sure. So that is more of like the burnout. So I think it's really important too to recognize that when it starts happening and having a game plan. So I recognize it a lot sooner now, and I just take a day. Sometimes I'll instead work from home, so I have a change of kind of environment. Or when I'm really getting to that point, I'm like, okay, I'm like hating my business right now, then my husband and I will go do a quick like weekend trip to the coast. So back when I was in California, and we definitely financially couldn't necessarily like do a trip to the coast, although it's a lot cheaper here in Oregon than it was in Orange County, we would do like a little camping trip, or maybe go visit some of our family that was more inland and like stay with them. So just kind of having a plan for that, to where you have something to look forward to and can kind of unplug and get away. So I think having that kind of in mind and a plan for that is going to be really important for you. Okay, now when it comes to boundaries, that's one thing that I wish I would have been a little bit more structured on from the very beginning, is my policies, and then really sticking to them. Now I've kind of changed how I think about this a little bit, especially with working with my coaching clients recently. I think having super strict not necessarily your policies, but like requiring a deposit up front or a credit card on file when you're brand new and you haven't built that trust with the community yet or with like a decent amount of clients, it can hinder people booking with you when you're first in your building phase. So I think there's different stages to this and different things that need to be implemented depending on what stage of your business it is that you're in. But when it comes to your policies, having those clearly stated and clear for yourself as well from the very beginning is going to be really important. And then actually, following through on them. Now, when it comes to when I'm in growth phase, so I'm growing Rebel Wax Studio up here in Bend right now. So we actually have commission waxers, so it's a whole different ball game because I'm not the one in the treatment room. I have to depend on my girls there to retain clients and to uphold the level of customer service that I expect and the experience I want each client to have. But with that, we're in growth phase, very much so. And when it comes to policies, the first no-show or late cancellation, I will always waive that fee. Now, once we get to a point where we're fully booked and we have multiple waxers and we have like a wait list going on, I probably won't be as lenient with that first time. So like I said, there's going to be different phases of growth. Ultimately, if you're watching this, you're like, hell no, I'm not doing that. They're getting charged from day one. That's the beauty of it being your own business. You can definitely make that decision and do that. I've just found that when you're in that new growth phase, that it can be harmful to helping really grow your clientele. And I'd rather just waive it the first time. But we're very clear to them that we're waiving that fee. We're not just like, oh, no worries, see you next time. We're like, no problem, I can go ahead and cancel. We do have a 24-hour late policy that was agreed upon booking. I'm going to go ahead and waive that fee this time, but just please be aware of that in the future. We won't be able to waive it in the future. Something like that. So super nice, customer service oriented, but you're still being clear that you have that policy and that you're waiving it for them. So you still want to touch on that. I was really terrible at this when I first went solo, and it definitely harmed my business, especially once I did get out of that growth phase, and then I was just in the maintain phase, and then the phase of raising your prices, losing some people, and then gaining new clients that are more of your ideal clientele. But trying to go backwards from, oh, I never actually implement my policies, to then, no, actually you're going to be charged today. It pissed off a lot of clients. It was really hard to start implementing that. So just have a really clear plan of action and then stick to it. Stop making, exceptions for this person versus that person. If across the board, it's the first time you're going to let it go, and then from there you're going to implement, stick to that with everybody. Also, let's talk about boundaries when it comes to friends and family. I wish from the beginning I would have just done a straight across friends and family 20% off deal. I would do a lot of free services for friends and family, and then my whole books ended up becoming nothing but friends and family. And we're in the business of making money and supporting our families, and doing nothing but servicing clients for free definitely does not help towards that goal. So I think being clear on that is going to be really important. So come up with something and then stick to it. It's different if you're booking a demo day or a content day or something and you're offering, but make sure that they know. So one thing that I wish I would have done was make sure that they knew the regular pricing, and then seeing that discounted price, so they would still receive the invoice. And it's so much easier now through these booking systems and stuff. But honestly, I would just have a friends and family automated discount that I can click at checkout. So when they see their receipt, they see the normal pricing, the friends and family discounted pricing, and then their total. So I would have started that a lot sooner, 100%, and I highly recommend you guys to do that as well. Okay, so something that's gonna really surprise people, I think, and it definitely surprised me is a lot of us get into or want to go solo for two different reasons. The financial freedom that it can bring and the time freedom. And I hate to break it to you, but you're going to be working a whole heck of a lot more than you were as an employee, because now everything relies on you. Financially, operationally, marketing, it all relies on you. But again, if your why and your passion is big enough, then it's going to keep you going, and you'll get it done. You'll get it done even on the days when it's hard and you don't feel like it and you don't want to. But I want you guys to be really clear and aware of that. It's not all rainbows and butterflies, and you're not just going to be, sipping martinis on the beach. Martinis? Do people drink martinis on the beach? That actually sounds really disgusting. Mai Tais? Maybe that's what I was going for. Anyways, it's not just like rainbows and butterflies. You are going to work harder and more than you ever have before. And I want you guys to just be clear and aware of that one. I think that's something that really surprises people. Now, you definitely can work towards that financial and time freedom, but it takes a little bit to get there, and you have to become a whole new person. That's where leadership comes in, hiring a team, really building out those systems and automations. So it can be done, but it's just not going to happen as soon as you would like or think. Like, there's a building process to get to that point. All right, next is your support system. Super important. My family wasn't necessarily excited about me, leaving European Wax Center. I was fired, so it was kind of a forced leave. But, my grandpa specifically was really nervous about it. And they come from a place of, they just want to see you be okay, right? I was pregnant with my third child. It was a steady paycheck. He just wanted, it comes from a place of love and making sure, that I'm good. But it can be really hard for some, and I think people expect that their friends and family are going to super cheer them on from the very beginning, but you might get some pushback. So you need to be really careful about who you share things with. Sometimes you just have to do it and then let them see the results rather than think that they're going to be in your corner cheering you on. Also, what may surprise you is that they may give a little pushback at the beginning, and then once you make it, they start clapping for you and they tell you, oh, I knew you could do it all along. When it's no, actually, you were telling me that this was a terrible idea and that I should go try to get my job back. So just be prepared for that, and don't take it to heart. It's just they haven't done it. Maybe they haven't done it themselves, or they haven't seen it done before, so they just don't know what to expect. So just be really careful on who you're sharing your big dreams with. But what's incredibly important is your spouse. Your partner, your spouse is really, really important, because that's one thing that will be really hard to work through, is if under your roof you don't have that support, or even worse, you have them actually working against you. It's going to be really, really hard, especially being a female entrepreneur, but a mom as well, and having kids. You got to choose your partner wisely. And that was huge for me, because my husband and I have always been really great partners and have worked together. He's been there from the very beginning of the growth of my business, and that's definitely a huge reason why we are where we are today. So for you, those of you who have that dream to go solo, open up your own business, you're not yet married, make sure that you take that into consideration when choosing your partner. What I wish I would have had at the very beginning too was a coach and mentor. I don't know if that was even as readily available back then as it is now. I've been working with our business coach for the past 2 years, and it's been huge for, he calls it the ignorance tax. So now I'm able to avoid some mistakes that I definitely would have made if I didn't have his guidance, get things set up on the right foot, just have unbiased outside eyes, and then also someone who's been there, done that, and has already achieved what it is you're looking to achieve. If I would have had that from the very beginning, I feel like it would have definitely, well, not feel like, I know it would have fast-tracked my results, and also I would have been able to create a lot of these systems and all these things that I wish, like, that we've already talked about up to this point. I would have probably had that implemented and started from the very beginning, which would have been huge. So I provide coaching for estheticians or even just small business owners in general. If that's something that you guys are interested in, let me know, or I'll make sure that it's linked down below as well. But if you're not in a place to do that yet, then you guys can have coaches and mentors right here on YouTube, on social media. There's so much more available to us now that I wish I would have had at the beginning. Just be really careful on who it is that you're following and listening and taking their advice. Make sure they're not talking theory and that they're people who have actually done the thing that it is that you're looking to do. So overall, this video is not trying to convince you to go solo or not go solo. I just wanted to give you guys a little look back on where it began for me, some of my takes on things, and I just want you guys to make an educated decision, whether it's not to go solo at all and find someone really great to work under, or go solo, or maybe go solo later and make it a future goal. I just want you guys, if you do embark on that, to actually have success and enjoy your businesses. It's going to be hard. I'm not saying it's not going to be hard, but it can be enjoyable at first. All right, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Every Monday we have a new podcast episode, The Rebel Show, and every Thursday we're right here with a training or vlog or demo or some sort of education for you guys to help perfect your technique or build your clientele or run your business smoother. So I'll see you guys back next week. Make sure to subscribe too, please. All right.